welcome to the 100 Club. This is cricket's newest fan community, and we are once again talking about the 100, coming to screens and grounds around the country on the 21st of July. I'm Tom, and joined once again by Oli, whilst Rich continues his sabbatical, his, retired hurt, whatever he's doing somewhere.
Yeah, he's having a net.
He's having a net, yeah.
All his overseas players have pulled out. He fancies his chances getting a game.
I am not certain he's going to get a game, but he is well. He will rejoin us shortly, I'm sure. But we are still going to have another little chat. Keep the interest going in the 100. Waiting till probably next week until we get into the squad profiles. I think we made that clear on our last video. Whilst that settles down, I think it's fair to say that the media machine, the hype, the ticket sales have started to build a bit. And I'm starting to see a lot around social media. Have you seen it, Oli? Some of the ticket sales business?
Yeah, it feels like the marketing activity has started to ramp up. So there's a lot of it feels like the 100 branding is kind of chasing me around the internet at the moment. You've probably seen some of the same banners that I have. We've expressed an interest in cricket, and now we're getting followed.
Yeah, they clearly. They clearly know their market. They're clever people, that Facebook. They'll go far. But I thought tonight we might have a little chat about some of the other noise that goes on around the 100. And this isn't, bashing anyone's opinion. It's not about going after people who love cricket. The reason why people have opinions is because we love cricket, right? But there's a bit of, keyboard warrior, I think it's fair to say, going on about the 100. And I thought we might have a look at a few of the questions that are raised about the tournament and some of the, the criticism that has been levelled at it, and maybe just have a think, see whether, some of it's justified or not. So a little bit of a chat around that, and we'll see how we feel. Now, clearly, if you're watching this, then we can presume, I hope, that you're interested in cricket and maybe even the 100. So if you've got an opinion on this, please do just put it down below. We'll have a look and maybe be able to have a look at that in a future video. If you like the video, that's really helpful, and give us a subscribe as well, and we'd deeply appreciate it. So I think, I've got a few characterizations of what's going on out there. The first one is probably, for me, one of the easier ones to deal with, that, essentially it's not proper cricket.
So there are some rule changes we talked about in those in one of the early videos. If you've not seen that video, just check the other videos in the channel. We do go through all the rules for a game of 100 cricket. But cricket has always been adapting. The formats have always been changing through the years. So, we've played cricket that wasn't 6-ball over based. I definitely remember playing 8-ball evening league cricket. So that aspect is not sort of wholly different from a lot of other formats of cricket. And there's always been new formats dropped in. So 30 years ago, 20 over cricket was something that was played in kind of club level and at junior level, and was not part of the professional calendar. And now it is one of the most watched formats, probably the most watched format around the world. So 30 years ago, you would not have expected that T20 cricket was going to be getting more eyeballs than 50 over or Test cricket.
And for me, the critical question is, can it raise the same emotions in the format of the game, right? I love Test cricket. I love One Day International. I love it all, right? I have almost no fear about the 100 being able to make me excited about a contest between two teams of 11, a ball, a bat, a field, and all of those basics that a game of cricket is.
And that's it, right? So as long as you've got a contest between bat and ball, and that the teams that win a game of 100 cricket are still the team that have played the best cricket, then for me it's still a game of cricket.
Yeah. And if you want 5 days or unending tests, then I'm afraid you haven't been paying attention for 50 years. It's fine. I get it. We can prefer Test cricket. That is not the question. But there needs to be something for everyone. It's not all your cake. You can eat all of it on this version. So I suppose my next question then would be on the criticism list would be, it's not going to help the Test team. So on this one, I think it's worth talking about some of the figures behind cricket. and who looks at cricket. In particular, this is looking at domestic game in England. So I think some market research has shown 25% or 20 to 25% of adults are interested in cricket in some way. Now, fewer than 1 in 10 of them will actually go to a game ever, but almost all of that 25% will follow the test team. Test cricket is the most inviting and interesting format of cricket to our audience, right? Now, the test team, it's fair to say, haven't had a great run of it. I don't know.
This, we're recording this video, having just witnessed, the test team, collapse against New Zealand, and they looked like a distant, they're third in the world rankings, and they looked a distant third, behind New Zealand and India.
I think that's helped us down to fourth now. I think that's helped us down to fourth now. So you can say, well, we're going to play India next, second team, or maybe the first by then, depending on how the final goes, and then Australia thereafter. You can say we're nervous, but the problems with the test team for me aren't from the 100 hasn't had a ball bowled yet. How can you say that's going to be part of the problem?
Yeah, it's not the threat of the 100 is
looming large over all of this. And I don't think it's short format cricket at all, because the New Zealanders, the districts that they're out there on the Plunket Shield, I think they've got 6 teams. They play a handful of games a year. Their batsmen are multi-format batsmen.
Yeah, we're going to go to Australia. They play the Sheffield Shield. When that is between the states. It's not. There's not an 18 team format over there, and history suggests that they're able to produce a pretty decent test side every couple of years. So the model of 18 counties is no guarantee of producing a decent test outfit. I think that's clear.
For once in my life, I have some sympathy with Nasser Hussain. He's saying just don't try and reinvent the wheel. Play bat, particularly, because that's what we're mostly criticising the test team for at the minute. Bat normally. Don't try and reinvent that wheel. And also, what I want to see is them playing more against better quality opposition. And for all of the strengths of the county game, it doesn't always give you the best quality opposition. So if the 100 is going to bring overseas stars in, well, you're going to have to face better bowlers.
Yeah, and I think if you look at the situation with the England Test side at the moment, the rotation policy that has gone on in India and the start of this summer here in England has meant that players have been brought into the side, on the strength of the county cricket that they've played. So we're kind of getting to see just how strong the depth of the talent pool is based on on runs in the county championship. And lo and behold, it's just demonstrated this week that it's not always a great translation. No. You can't take county runs and just make it as guaranteed test success.
Yeah, it's fair to say there are a lot of things we would change around the test team, but the 100 doesn't earn the criticism yet on that one. So I think the next one I'll have a look at is that, nobody asked for it. And I think I have some sympathy for this. Like the counties, were they involved? Were the fans involved on the boards of the counties? How did this process come around? Why did it come as a new format? Well, yeah, you don't want to get surprised by anything. But that's one side of it. You could also certainly make an argument about the way the ECB initially launched it. There were some issues with some of the noises coming out, but that's nearly 2 years ago now, or over 2 years ago at the very beginning.
And we could say, well, nobody asked for it. Well, that's probably true that no engaged cricket fans asked for this new format, but you're kind of asking the wrong audience. If you're asking, if the objective of the 100, and let's be kind of clear that one of the objectives is to try and bring new fans into the game, to increase the amount of people, as you think you're talking about earlier, Tom, about how many people are actually watching and interested in cricket. Cricket is competing against a lot of other sports for attention, right? And that's not just about do people like it, but also are they prepared to spend money on it, because that then pumps money into the game. Yeah. So the ECB have had to think, how do we get more people prepared to pay to watch cricket. And so asking people who already follow cricket and either pay or don't pay to actually go and attend games is asking the wrong people.
Yeah.
So funny enough, they're probably not interested.
Yeah. Okay, so you look at the some of the stats again. You every age group up to 55, there are more people engaged with IPL than they are with the domestic game. So that's why is that? Well, the IPL is clearly doing something for the people in that age bracket who want to watch cricket. Okay, first point. Secondly, the 100 isn't necessarily going to compete or challenge the IPL in that sense, but it needs to do something, because at the moment the domestic game, as you say, isn't really doing anything. It's got a tremendous problem with gender balance. I think 80% of the fans are men, 20% women. That's about the worst across any of the major sports. And when I go and watch a Somerset game, it's old people. Let's be brutally honest. I love Taunton. I've lived around that area for a long period of my life in the past, but it's not a huge, vibrant sort of location. If you want to have enough people coming through the turnstiles to be able to pay for the game that you love, then we probably need to do a little bit more to get some of those people around. So, fine, you put it in the cities, you make it a bit tighter, you make it more accessible, fine, I'm happy to do that. And ultimately what comes out is hopefully some more fans for the Test game, for the other county games and formats in the long term.
Yeah. Well, we take one of the earlier points that, is it going to be bad for the Test side? Well, one of the things that is going to be bad for the Test side is if no kids are playing cricket.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's a real worry.
Right. And I know that the ECB have to make sure that they're achieving certain levels of participation in order to make sure they qualify for the Sports England kind of grassroots funding, which is needed to put on, activities like, kind of the kids cricket programs. Right? And without that funding, if not enough participation takes place, there isn't enough funding to fund the participation. So the cycle will just get worse. And if you've not got players actually playing cricket, then you're not going to the talent pool ultimately that producing a winning Test side. It's all got to filter up somehow.
And you've seen it as well, in some of the 100 activity, the Dynamos game going around with some of the stars. Hopefully it's going to do that. We want the same thing here. And so when you come to this question, it relates. It's going to kill the domestic game. Well, at the moment, the ECB is paying the counties essentially to accept the imposition of the 100. They're getting £1.3 million a year each for the next 4 years from the TV deal. Now, again, you look at the finances of the domestic game at the moment, there is one team out of 18 that could survive without the ECB's money going into it, and that is Surrey. One team. Yeah,
and you think what Surrey's got going for it is, it's in a central London location, and it's offering midweek entertainment. I've been down to Surrey, watch a few games on the evening as a T20. It's almost a bar with a cricket pitch attached sometimes, because it gets in big crowds, but it's a big after work sort of big night out crowd. I'm not so sure that can be easily replicated across all the other counties.
Yeah, and to be honest, I don't have anything against that. I've been on the end of a beer snake long enough in my life to know it's fun, right? But the Vitality Blast does quite a lot to help here. It does its best to make it kid friendly, but the 100 has got it as a stated aim again. You've got the kids ends and the family friendly area, and what is it, free for under fives and $5 for teenagers and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think it's.
You're not paying much to take yourself and your family to watch it, are you?
No, I think I got tickets for our family, and it was £25 for 3 of us.
Yeah.
So
you can go to the cinema for that.
No.
Okay. So there's that, but the other aspect of the domestic game criticism is it's pushing everything else to the margins. The county game is April, May. Vitality T20 Blast is now not in the school holidays where it wants to be. Well, Yeah, it's overlaying the 1 day international, and I do think there's something which will fall out as the 100 settles in a bit about getting that scheduling a bit better.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that I had originally hoped was that players would be available throughout the 100, and that the squad that played the first game would still be available for the last game. There's something nice about that, because you get to sort of get to follow the team, and there's a sort of there's a narrative, isn't there, if you're seeing the same players who actually play the whole tournament. But I think the scheduling is kind of is not ideal this year. But so many bits of the whole cricket schedule have been kind of crunched around because of COVID. That this is kind of just feels like another part of that. Is it ideal in terms of the way that it affects some of the county games? Well, clearly not. I think it needs to have its own space, but probably that's kind of true of the other competitions as well. We need to find chunks of the summer, when these competitions can take place. And the other thing to think about is, do they all need to happen every year? No. There's no reason why we have to play all of these formats every year. Make them give them a bit of if they're unique, they're not happening every year, there's a bit more special to them.
Yeah, so I agree with that. Or they could have, condensed some of them a bit, and it's happening a little bit in the county Red Bull game in terms of slightly fewer fixtures. I think that's, probably overdue. So you could argue on the next one, why didn't they just invest in what already existed there? And yes, okay, so T20, for instance, they could have said the T20 Vitality Blast, we're going to make it 2 leagues, an A league, North and South, proper, condense the teams down a bit, make the scheduling, and then just not have to put in another thing. But the point is, the marketing for the 100 is £6 million, something like that, I think. A lot of that money is coming from TV. That money doesn't exist unless there's the new format. So we've got free to air, who essentially have said we need 3 hours, 6 till 9 p.m.
That's your slot.
Needs to fit, right?
And a T20 game doesn't currently fit that.
Doesn't fit. And by the way, we're not actually that interested in what you're currently offering for us that. And so you could argue, who's wagging who, which dog. But actually, what you get is you're getting cricket on free to air. The same people who are killing, saying this is killing it. Well, we need to have cricket on free to air. So if that's what they want, then I think we probably should listen, because then it's giving us the money so we can pay the counties and keep them afloat. We can market it, and we can potentially get a new audience. I don't see the problem with that.
I mean, it would have been great if cricket had been on free to air, continuously since 2005, but it hasn't been, right? No. And opposing the 100 is not going to magically make it have been on TV for the last best part of 20 years. No. So we are in the position where we are, where there's a whole generation of kids that have not seen it on free to air TV. So frankly, we have to do something about that.
We need to, there is not a magic money tree out there that is just going to say, oh, all of this money now can go to what exists. Actually,
it's like we can't say, we're prepared to pay this for the to broadcast the T20 tournament, over the last 5 or 10 years. But now, because you would like to have more money for it, we will give you more money for it. That's not how TV deals work.
Yeah, and so what you end up with is a new format, right? Because that's what they want.
Because it was demanded by the broadcasters. Yeah, you got to have a new product to sell in the market.
But the broadcasters aren't stupid. They should know, you would hope, what their audiences want. Okay, so fine. We haven't seen a ball bowled yet. We need to see what it pans out at. But in terms of the arguments we've seen now, for me, I don't feel uncomfortable with any of that, and I'd actually rather see it try and preserve what we like already without. So the last couple of ones I picked out as well, the franchises only exist for 33 days a year. Okay.
It's true, but IPL franchise exists for 50 days a year, and they seem to have pretty big followings. Doesn't seem to have hurt the IPL that they don't also play other forms of cricket throughout the year.
Yeah. Okay. I could imagine that we'll see perhaps some of the international franchises the branding around that, maybe coming into the 100 even. You know,
it's an interesting idea.
I mean, we've seen the Night Riders going Trinbago as well as Kolkata. So we'll see. You know, maybe that would be something in the future as well. And I wondered, you know, if you wanted to expand the 100 to give it that opportunity, well, you could make it 10 teams without too much pain down the line. This is the first year. There's going to be a bit of change. We're going to see what this bed's in like. But you'd want to see returning players in the same squads every year. And that's how you sort of build a bit of franchise and a bit of loyalty to a team. Can't have, you know, the word franchise is, you know, it kind of hurts me in a way, because I don't like to think about sport and money in that sense. But, you know, it's a team. Let's call it that. Fine. It'll still be the same. There is some work to be done, you know, on probably all of those questions. But the point is, I'll go back to it again. We care about it. That's the point. And so when I see what they're trying to do, at least it feels to me like they're trying to address some of the problems that cricket has. You know, you can't bury your head in the sand about some of the problems that cricket has. And so, you know, there's a quick few thoughts from us about where the 100 is trying to go, what it's trying to do for us, and
I guess we'd love to hear all your thoughts. Comment below. You know, what we'll try and pick up some of those points in the next video, because, you know, I'm sure there's hopefully passionate cricket fans watching this. Let's hear what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you have other things that you think we've missed that we should cover as well?
Can't wait to hear from you. Ollie, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much to you all who've joined us. And if you'd like to, please drop us a like and a subscribe. And we will see you next time here on the 100 Club.